Welcome to Roll to Hit Gaming's 15 Favorite Games. I'm Lucas.
I'm Joe.
And I'm Chip.
It's 2018, and we're giving you our most anticipated list for this year.
The way we put these lists together is that we curate them from individual lists so that you're getting 15 original titles.
I'm going to go ahead and start us off today. My number 5 is the Role Player expansion, Monsters and Minions. We covered Role Player on the channel some time ago. You'll see a link in the corner of your screen there. And in this one, you're basically building the best D&D character. There's a market where you buy goods, you roll your dice, and then you have manipulations when you finish a stat on how you can manipulate some of the randomness that the dice are going to give you. And you've got certain objectives based on your class and your race, and it's a really neat little dice building game to build up your character, and the expansion is going to give you something to do with that character once you've built it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And along the way, you're going to be gathering information of the coming threat, and then the more prepared you are, the better you'll do against the bad guy at the end of it. So I really liked Role Player, so I'm really looking forward to the expansion. That was the one thing that you're like, yeah, okay, well, we built it, now what?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're going to have something there. So that's kind of cool. I'm looking forward to that.
Well, for my number 5, I chose a game called Ironclad. This was something that I'd never seen before, hadn't heard anything else about it, but it was a co-op space opera.
Mm-hmm.
It's from 1 to 3 players, so it's a little bit more restrictive, but it's story-driven campaign. Basically, you're in the middle of a cosmic Cold War, and you're like a smuggler, bounty hunter. You're completing these missions, but you're not getting involved in the war itself,
mm-hmm.
right? It kind of reminds me a little bit of Firefly,
Mm-hmm.
because you're just out there doing the missions. Or you could even get involved with blowing up a battle station or getting involved in a battle itself out in space. It just... Being a freelancer in the middle of that whole Cold War sounded really cool. And so I chose Ironclad.
Very cool. Well, one of the benefits for having the gaming group that we have is I can anticipate a game and not necessarily have to back it on Kickstarter myself because what I'm looking at is, for my list, the majority of them are ones that you guys have already backed. So I'm anticipating games that you guys have ordered. Mine is going to be The World of SMOG: Rise of Moloch, and this is a title. It's a one versus many set in the Victorian kind of steampunkish theme, and it's also a campaign game that goes through story mode, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But the miniatures are just amazing. I mean, and that's what drew me to it. But when I saw it on Kickstarter, I immediately sent you a text, Lucas, saying, "Hey, has Jolyn seen this one? Because I know it's right up her alley." And then the next day or a couple days later, I get a reply back, "Oh, crap, she saw it." Yeah, we're in. So I get to be, I get to anticipate this game and didn't have to necessarily back it. But I am really excited about it. I want to get it to my painting table because some of the minis look really great. That's World of SMOG: Rise of Moloch, and that'll be our number 5s.
My number 4 is another co-op game. This one is from 1 to 5 players, but it's a space survival horror adventure. Basically, you're on this ship and you're in a hibernation chamber, and you get awakened.
What's the name of it?
Oh, my goodness. It is Nemisis. Thank you so
Very
much.
nice.
I appreciate that. But basically, you're in hibernation chambers, and you are awakened, and your ship is basically having system failures and such. So you're trying to fix your ship so you can get back to Earth. Well, you also find that one member of your crew has been murdered. His hibernation chamber was shattered, and he was killed. So there's something on the ship with you. So you're trying to fix the ship and avoid, whatever this murderous thing is. So I don't know. It just seemed a really cool take on just another horror adventure, and I wanted to give it a shot, and that's called Nemisis.
All right. My number 4 is going to be another one that you guys have backed on Kickstarter. I'm on a roll. This one is Rise of Tribes. It's a civilization building, but it has this neat dice mechanic that intrigues me, of where previous dice rolls affect the current action you're trying to take. So as you start rolling these dice, you keep them and it's kind of in a rolling set of 3 dice, and previous outcomes affect current conditions. So I thought that's a neat mechanic I haven't seen a lot of places, and I'm interested to see how they implement it. And so hopefully we'll see it soon. Rise of Tribes.
Yeah, that one got backed because of my search for a Civ builder that I like.
Yeah,
that
the search continues.
So, for my number 4, I've long been a fan of Games Workshop fantasy-themed tabletop miniatures games. I've always had trouble, though, getting into the futuristic, the Warhammer 40K. I've dabbled in it, but I've never been particularly interested in it. And I think the new marriage between Games Workshop and WizKids is going to fix that problem for me, because they've announced Warhammer 40,000 Dice Masters. Mm-hmm. If you're a fan of the channel, you know that I like Dice Masters. I consider it the game that killed Magic the Gathering for me. I love the fast pace, the team building, all of that stuff. So adding this into that setting is perfect for me. The starter box is going to come with Ultramarines and Nurgle's Death Guard, and then they're going to have Orc and Space Wolf factions, at least at the get-go, and you know how they pump these Dice Masters boxes out, so I'm sure there'll be a ton of it. So I'm really looking forward to Warhammer 40K Dice Masters.
I can't wait to combine a Gold Dragon with a Space Marine Tactical Squad. I just think it's going to be amazing. No, I don't think we're going to combine those sets, but I am really excited for that Dice Masters expansion.
And that's our number 4s.
Well, finally we get to number 3, and it's one that I've backed on Kickstarter. I am anticipating the new release of Brass, the reprint of Brass Lancashire, and then the new game of Brass Birmingham that'll be coming in the package. Really what drew me to this game is Martin Wallace, which we enjoy his games, and the artwork in this edition is just off the chain, man. It is so beautiful. And this is one of those games where you play with poker chips, right? Mm-hmm. And they have contracted this artist to craft them a set of poker chips custom to this game that is just beautiful. Mm-hmm. And so it was an instant back once I saw that. And I'm really excited about the game too. Get 2 games in one box basically. I've never played Brass, so I'm excited to get it to the table. I've played Martin Wallace games and I enjoy them. And so we'll see how it goes, but I'm definitely anticipating Brass from Kickstarter this year.
My number 3 is from one of my favorite publishers, and that's Gamelin Games. And this one is Heroes of Air, Land, and Sea. So basically what they've done is kick the tiny out, and it's just massive, epic, whatever, right? So this one's going to be a 4X game. I wrote still epic, certainly not tiny. It's got orcs, elves, humans, and dwarves. I kind of felt like it might be set in their Tiny Epic Kingdoms universe, whatever the land of Gamelin. But the interesting thing for me was the actions that you have each turn. You've got command actions, which are kind of, to move your troops and your boats and your airships and cast spells, stuff like that. But I really liked the capital actions. You can recruit more soldiers, you can build up your physical capital, and doing so makes your characters have greater abilities, because they, based on what level your capital is, their abilities scale a little bit. You can tax your people to get resources, you can do research to improve your magic. But for those capital actions, it has that follow mechanic, and I really like it. So I choose to build, and then you may be able to do so too. I really like that. It's a fantasy themed 4X. I don't really know how much more you need to dive into there. Everybody knows what that is, But there are different ways to win. You can win through expanding, exterminating, all that. So that's pretty cool too. It's not just going to come down to who killed everybody at the end. There's a little depth there. So I'm really looking forward to Heroes of Air, Land, and Sea.
We saw that at BGG-Con, and it took up a good amount of the table. Mm-hmm. It's a sprawling game. Looks good.
Huge box. Well, for my number 3, I chose Smiths of Winterforge. Basically, you're taking control of a guild to get money and to build reputation. And I'm excited about it because you take contracts and you buy components and then you craft your contracts in order to become more prestigious with the crown. This just seemed like my kind of game, so I got real excited about it, and that's Smiths of Winterforge. I'm
really excited about that one, too. And, in fact, I'm a little miffed because we saw it at BGG-Con sitting on the shelf, so I'm like, why hasn't it delivered, But this one reminds me of, sort of remind. Like that one game we played, King's Forge, I guess,
King's
where
Forge.
you're crafting different stuff with the dice rolls. And to me, this one is like a souped-up version of that. It looks really good. So, yeah, very good. Those are our number 3s.
We're at number 2, and just kind of lucky coincidence, my number 2 is CO2. And this one is from Vital Lacerda, and that's what caught my attention. He did Vinhos, which I really liked. He also did Lisboa, which we have, but I haven't had a chance to play yet. But I found out in Vinhos, I kind of like the way he puts things together. And this is going to be kind of a redesign, streamlining, and, with upgraded components. So you kind of have me at upgraded components. I really like that. But basically the idea is, back in the 70s, in order to meet power demands, we built all these power plants and weren't concerned with what they were doing with the environment. Well, now fast forward, and we have to be concerned with what they're doing with the environment. So the government has these CEOs that each player plays, going out and building green factories, and you've been given a certain number of carbon points, so you kind of have to work within some limits. But of course, you want to do this in a profitable way, right? So the theme is cool to me. I really like it. I love Manhattan Project Energy Empire, and I kind of think this is going to be Vital's spin on the same kind of theme. The games won't be anything alike, but theme wise and maybe a little heavier. So that's really neat to me. And it also has a fully cooperative mode and a solo mode. So I think there's going to be a lot in this game. I've been looking forward to it for a while, and I heard that this reprint was coming, so I never went out and found the original. Really excited about CO2.
Well, for me, my number 2 is a Fantasy Flight game, which is Star Wars Legion. It's another miniature skirmish game, but it's like you can go from Hoth all the way to Endor. And it even mentioned that you might even get some bigger battles out of it. So I'm really excited about that. I loved Imperial Assault. I know it's not the same thing, but I want to see what they've done with it this time. Star Wars Legion.
Yeah, that one looks good. Mine is is one of the big hype trains of last year coming into Kickstarter, and it's Eric Lang's Rising Sun. This is it's a diplomatic strategy game set in the world of samurai and Japanese culture, I guess. The overall presentation looks great. Eric Lang hasn't let me down yet, so even with trains and stations. So I'm really excited to get, and it's full of miniatures as well. I'm a mini painter, so there's a lot to get to my table, not only to play but to also paint. So very excited for Rising Sun.
Those are our number 2s. Well, my number 1 is from CMON. It's another one by Eric Lang, who I love. And this is a Song of Ice and Fire miniature tabletop game. This is an IP that I love because it's Game of Thrones. It's another miniatures skirmish game. But the thing that really grabbed me was the political track. And this political track, how you manipulate that will sway the outcome of the battles that you're playing. So I really want to see how that integrates into it. So a Song of Ice and Fire miniatures game.
We are never going to complete painting all of our stuff.
No, we're not.
No, we're not.
For my number 1, it's another game that you guys have backed on Kickstarter. But this one we actually went back and forth of who's going to back it. And there for a minute I thought maybe we'd just both back it. So I'd have a copy at my house. But it's Dice Hospital. New one coming out, Alley Cat Games. And this one just caught me right off the bat. As just a cute little interesting game. It's a dice roller where you're managing a hospital and you've got patients coming in to your ER, and you've got to sort of you got to manage them into the different, if they're in cardiac, you got to put them in a certain place. If they're whatever the other problems are, so you're managing these little patients around your hospital. You're rolling dice on their conditions, and it looks like a really neat game. It seems like it's going to have sort of a random, or not random, but a customizable layout to your hospitals as they grow.
Okay.
And that kind of stuff appeals to me. components look good. It's just a neat thing. And then I got mad because it was like, I think it was Rado maybe had posted a video showing how to play it at his run-throughs, and I'm like, oh, so it's out already. I want to go rush to the store and get it. And then you tell me, like, no, man, the Kickstarter hadn't even finished yet. Oh, crap. So, publishers, I know you guys are wanting to get your messages out, but my goodness, man, give us some time. We want these games. We can't wait a year for them. So, anyway, that's my number one, the Dice Hospital.
My number one is going to be the next mid-size box expansion for Robinson Crusoe, The Lost City of Z. And in this one, like its predecessor, Voyage of the Beagle, it follows another great explorer, Lieutenant Colonel Perry Fawcett, and his expedition deep into the Amazon rainforest looking for the mythical Lost City of Z. It's going to introduce new mechanisms of horror and sanity in the game. So when I first saw it, I was like, oh, Robinson Crusoe Cthulhu. So that's cool. Discover new characters, beasts, and have mystery decks. But the cool thing about it is it has a 5-mission sort of mini campaign in it, which is really neat. It's expanding on Robinson Crusoe, so it'll be all of those familiar ideas of survival and all that stuff. But I'm really looking forward to The Lost City of Z to follow that story along.
It's going to be cool. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Those are our 2018 most anticipated games we're looking forward to coming out this year. Obviously, the ones we don't know about. So we'll see as the year unfolds what surprises pop up. But these are the things on our radar right now. For Roll to Hit Gaming, I'm Lucas.
I'm Joe.
And I'm Chip. Please subscribe.